friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Luz, and all I do here is answer ESL questions from free online resources that are available online. So today's questions are going to be based on the ESL.com website. I go by alphabetical order, so the letter today was H, and I chose the topic how-tos. So let's get started answering these questions. So question 1, do you know how to be a good listener? Well, I try to be a good listener, and I think I try to do it in 3 ways. So, first of all, I try not to cut off people when they're trying to speak to me. So, I try to let them finish their own sentences. I try to listen very carefully, and I think when a person is able to complete their own sentences, they feel heard, and you've given them enough time to think and to form their sentences. So, that's one of the ways that I try to do that. The second way that I try to do this is to be patient. Nowadays, and I've seen this with a lot of people, there are a lot of people who cannot wait for the other person to stop speaking before they jump in and express their own opinion. So this is like a clear sign as to whether or not a person is listening or not. So it's a very, very negative thing. I don't like to do it. I don't like to see it being done, but a lot of people do that, and it's completely negative. The last way that I try to be a good listener is I try to ask questions. I think a sure way to show the other person that you're actually listening to them is to kind of ask follow-up questions based on what they were saying. Instead of you just chiming in with your own opinion prematurely. So I try to do that as well. And I also do try to use like body language. I try to, nod my head like, okay, just to show them that I'm listening. So yeah, those are the ways that I try to be a good listener. And that's my how-to. Question 2, do you know how to see in the dark? Well, if it's a dark room, I would probably not be able to see in the dark room because I'm not nocturnal. But the other ways that I can try to see in the dark, for example, if I was in danger and I knew the room, like the room was familiar to me, I would try to feel my way to safety, like, just based on the mental image that I have of the room. I just try to feel my way to safety, to a safe corner or something like that. Another way that I would try to see in the dark would be to try to use a flashlight if I had one on me. A lot of smartphones nowadays have a flashlight, so I would try to use that. But if I was in a dark room and I was not familiar with a dark room, I would try to stay in place because I didn't know what was like near me, like how dangerous the environment was. I would just try to stay in one position until I see some type of light coming through. Question 3, do you know how to train for a marathon? Well, so I have never done it, but I have a lot of friends that do marathons, and I probably can share a brief guide of how I see them trying to do it. So first of all, I think the person has to be really interested in running a marathon because this is a very long distance race. I think the full one is 42.2 kilometers, and for the half marathon, you do the math. So it's a very, very long period of time of continuous running, so you have to be really interested in doing this. So what I see them trying to do in preparation for a race is they get in touch with their trainer or coach. Some of them do have a trainer or a coach, and they would have them design a program for them that was in alignment with the goals that they have for the next race. This program would involve like a nutritional regimen. It would also involve like the time they would need to be taking training for the marathon, the difficulty of the marathon, are they very good at the beginning of the race and do they finish really weakly? So the coach would try to address in this program their weak areas based on the goals that the person has for their next race. If, for example, they wanted to improve their time by 5 minutes, I think the coach would have something, that has to do with that. So the other thing that I see them trying to do is they try to follow the program because they feel like by following the program, they would improve their chances of kind of reaching their goals or achieving their marathon goals. So that's something I see them doing. And also like between the training, they also try to take sufficient rest between trainings, and this really helps them to keep their physique and their health in check. I also do see them getting their, for example, their shoes fitted to the best type of shoe for their foot shape, because there are a lot of different types of feet, and I didn't even know this, and you have to get fitted for the type of foot that you have. So I know, like, for a lot of people who would wear a Nike shoe because it was like designed for their particular type of foot. Some people would go for Adidas. I know a lot of girls like their Pumas as well. So yeah, they would definitely get fitted for the right shoe for their specific type of foot. Question 4. Do you know how to use Windows and Apple computers? Well, yes, I do. But in today's world, I just feel like, especially when it comes to computer technology, you don't even need to know anything. Like, all you need to do is get on a browser and just type what you need to know, and you would just have like a tutorial right there. Like, if you're not even good at like following a written down tutorial, you can even watch a YouTube videos of how to use a Mac or how to use Windows, and there you are. You don't need to know anything. You just need to know how to search for the specific information that you want to search for, and it's going to be available to you online. So yeah, that's that. Question 5. Do you know how to make people very happy? Well, I think this is a really difficult question, because I think trying to make people very happy can be a very slippery slope. So, for example, with my work and in my professional life, I definitely do try to do what I have agreed to in the contract. And this probably makes my boss happy. And usually I know my boss is happy when they're not complaining. So maybe that's how I try to do it. But outside of that, I just try to do things that I like to do. And if people get happy in that process, then I'm very happy for them, that they're very pleased. But trying to make people happy is a very slippery slope, like I said, because different people have a different expectations for what will make them happy. So if you're the person who's trying to, do jumping jacks for everybody, some of the people want you to jump high, some people want you to jump low, some other people want you to jump barefoot, it's very, very impossible to do. But I think professionally, it's just fair that you agree to the terms of your contract and do what is expected of you. Question 6. Do you know how to lose weight fast? Well, so this is a very interesting discussion, and it's a very broad discussion right now, because the beauty standard has now changed to being skinny. So in the past, I think a few years ago, it was like the BBLs, people getting lip injections and getting like fat added in specific areas of their bodies. But right now, the trend is to be as skinny as possible. And in Hollywood right now, there are some drugs that are being used by celebrities to control their weight. And for the most part, I think these celebrities have had very, very amazing results in a very short amount of time. I'm very open minded when it comes to other people's bodies, and I'm very happy when they're doing things that are consistent with what makes them happy. But personally, I have definitely subscribed to what I think is a safe way to lose weight fast. And for me, if I wanted to do that, I would definitely try to go as natural as possible. So I would definitely try to eat food that was available in nature, for example, and was not something that had ingredients I couldn't pronounce. So I think that's a good way to go about it. But again, guys, this is a big discussion. There are a lot of people who agree with one method of weight loss, and soon after that comes out and becomes trendy, there's another camp that comes to kind of knock this other method. And I know there are different marketing aspects of why they would knock a different type of weight loss than another one. So it's very, very interesting here. But I think this is where we are as a modern world. You're able to like absorb different types of information and make the decision that is good for you. Question 7. Do you know how to get the guy or girl of your dreams? Well, probably not. So for me, I'm a very traditional person. If a guy was interested in me, they would probably have to do 70% of the work. So I feel like the goal for feminine women would be to respond to the people that are attracted to them. And it's quite interesting because it gets really boring very quickly, especially because for a lot of women, they have had Toms, Dicks, and Harrys approaching them to express interest. For some of these guys, it's not like the girl was the girl of their dreams. Some of them were just experimenting. They're not very serious. They don't want to settle down. So I feel like for a lot of girls, it's a very, very tough time and a very, very difficult process of vetting, because for them as human beings, of course, they want to be flattered, and it feels good to be flattered. But I feel like the older the people get, the higher the standards they have for who they qualify for their mate. So for me, I would say for all the guys, it would be like, may the best man win. And that is how they would win me as their dream girl. But unfortunately, guys, I'm not in the market. I've been off the market for quite a while now. So all the best to everybody who's trying to get the girl or guy of their dreams. Question 8. Do you know how to get an upgrade to business or first class? Yes, I think there are a few ways to get an upgrade from business to first class. So first of all would be to directly ask the airline representative at the check-in counter to upgrade you for a small fee. I know a lot of people do try to redeem their miles for an upgrade as well. The other thing, so for example, if you're a member of a specific airline and the flight wasn't busy, the flight that you were just about to get on, they would immediately upgrade you to business class. A lot of really nice ways to get that upgrade for business or first class. And I feel like these seats come really handy, especially when the distance is very long and you have to fly from one continent to the other. And there are some airlines like Emirates that have really great legroom and make it such that you don't really have to get that business class seat, but sometimes it's really, really, really important, especially if you're really tired coming from your destination. You have to work the next day, you definitely need to sleep, and those seats come in very, very handy. Question 9. Do you know how to get rich quick? Well, yes. I think I've seen a lot of people getting rich quick by winning the lottery or receiving windfall from a family member. I think this is the surest way to get rich quick. The other way, I think a lot of people have gotten rich by doing what they love. And it's not really been quick. It's just, I think it's because it's felt very effortless because the people were doing the things that they absolutely loved. And even if it was work, it didn't necessarily feel like work. So they probably got rich quick in the eyes of the people who are looking from outside. But in the view of a lot of these people that we think have gotten rich very quick, they always speak about the amount of work that went into it, or how much they enjoyed doing the work that they did, or how lucky they got. It's always something different than I got rich quick, the stories that they tell. So yeah, I think the first two ways that I mentioned would be the surest ways to get rich very quickly. Question 10. Do you know how to use English punctuation correctly? Well, I would hope so. Like I said in a previous recording, I think English is a very political language. Like, the standards that exist in London publishing are not the ones that exist in probably New York or Indian publishing houses or South African publishing houses. So for me, I think some of the things that I try to keep in mind when I'm writing, because I do write as a hobby, is I just try to make my sentences shorter and more natural instead of having like run-on sentences that are too long, and that's the basics, I think. Otherwise, I think like when you're punctuating excitement or a question, I think that is more straightforward. Alright guys, let me know what you guys think about these questions down in the comments. I'll be very happy to see them. So otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.